Hey, welcome everyone to our webinar today. We have a guest that we've invited, which is Mobile Marketing, and Carole Cross, who is the president of Mobile Marketing. I guess that's the right title. What's your official title, Carole?
CEO?
CEO, president. There we go.
Same.
Founder. All those things. So we've invited her to come, and we're just grateful to have her. They've been a great partner with us, and we're developing some great new things, which I think we're going to talk about some of those today. And so without prolonging this, I'm going to give her the opportunity to introduce herself, and we'll get going.
Great. Hi, everyone. As Chad mentioned, I'm Carole Cross. I'm the founder of Mobile Marketing. We're a 8-year-old company coming up in February 2023. I've been in the digital space for the last almost 30 years now, in flooring for about 15 of those, and in digital the whole entire time. So really excited to have this opportunity to talk to everybody today. All right, so just a little bit about who we are and what we do, so to give you some context to some items we're going to talk about. We really focus on helping our retailers craft experiences, right? How to help find customers online, engage with them, create advocacy, and ultimately to help you drive more revenue, and using digital strategies as a way to actually do that. A few things about us. We have about 32% of the top 50 floor covering weeklies, top 50 retailers. About 32% of those are our customers. We have a large percentage of the National Flooring Alliance, hundreds of independent flooring retailers across Mohawk, Shaw. We are fast growing, profitable, privately owned digital agency. And we were named one of the disruptors in 2022 for some of the things that we're probably going to share with you today. And I myself was one of the top 35 women in flooring. Don't like to boast too much, but my marketing team makes me put this on the slide. This just gives you an idea of those top 50 retailers, that a large portion of them are our clients today. So what do? We really help build and deliver experiences, right, that helps you grow your business. So as we think about, and we're going to cover just a couple slides on this because it's really relevant to how we're connecting all of the pieces in this end-to-end experience. So, this is an example of one of our websites, for example, and you'll notice things like promotions, right, monthly promotions connected with email, lead generation activities, shop at home forms, call tracking, in-stock flooring, visualization, the ability to have obviously flooring catalogs from all the different manufacturers, applying for financing online. So at the core, right, is all of these kinds of website features. Some are very unique. We use some geolocation for IP, for closest stores. So just the full host of all your different website services. And then we also do all of the advertising around it. So these are very promotional. So, how do we help you find customers online? So ads, social advertising, sales, promotions, Google Local, along with the website experiences. So visualization, catalog management, email and text-based communications, virtual, using video technology. So just anything associated with search, social, mobile, digital web experiences online is really what we do and what we focus on. So I'm going to actually now talk about, and we now do that integrated with QFloors. And so as a QFloors customer, if you're on here today and you're a QFloors customer, we want to show you how you're able to kind of connect a lot of these pieces and deliver a whole nother level of a different experience online. So we first want to start off with any retailer that we're talking to. We always talk about the digital strategy piece first, and we call it kind of powering the journey. And so let me give you a couple graphics of what this looks like. So the first step in kind of powering the journey is, how do we help increase awareness, right, for your store online? And there's lots of different ways to do this, and there's probably a whole nother separate section just on all the different advertising channels and what works and what you should be looking at. But what we look to do is find all the different ways that we can find customers online, right? So that's search advertising, that's social, that's, you know, video ads, it's geofencing, OTT, local SEO work. All of that kind of falls in, how do we help drive awareness? And then once you have them, how do you get them to engage with you, right? That's where your catalogs and your interactivity, your sales, your educational pieces, your galleries, all of these things start to fall into engaging, and then getting to the point of actually converting those customers online. And then once you've got them, right, you got to sales and service them. So you've got back and forth and communications and tools around that. And then ultimately, you want them to be a loyal customer, and therefore they then tell others, they share it in reviews, they share it online, and it kind of gives you this cycle. For those that are new, you know, to hearing, you know, me talk, I always think about, you do these things already as it relates to your physical store presence, right? So you're always thinking, how do I get people to come in my door? And then once they come in the door, how do I get people to engage with, you know, products and figure out what's right for them, right? Taking them to the products or to galleries, or you're talking about features. And then once you've got them, you don't let them just walk out the door without getting them to identify themselves, right? So whether that's taking a sample, or, you know, scheduling a follow-up, or getting, you know, exchange of information, that connection in the store and making sure you're getting them to identify themselves is important. And then after you do the install and do that, you want them to give you a really solid review that you can then use. So it's the same thing that you think about in your physical presence, just I want you to think about it now as it relates to digital. And so another version of what this starts to look like.
Carole,
Yeah.
you said something. Okay, so this comes where I'm not good at marketing or whatever.
Yeah.
You said OTT. You said there was an acronym there. Why don't you tell me what that is?
Yeah, so OTT stands for over the top. It actually is associated with basically marketing through subscription-based services. So during COVID, like everybody now has, you know, a Hulu or an MLB.com or all these different applications. That's now actually a digital channel for advertising, not just through cable. Like a lot of people think cable and they see ads. Now you've got all these subscription services. So OTT is one of those things as to how do you do advertising within subscription services.
How do they do that? Do they do that? I mean, those are national streaming. How do they know? How do they localize that?
Yeah, actually, because it's coming through the internet. So think internet ads versus cable, right? So it comes through the internet connection, not the cable connection. Mm-hmm. So they know the IP, they know the physical address, so you can get very, very targeted. And people think of those as commercials because you're in watching a show on Hulu, but it's really not served up through a cable company. It's all digital, and it's all served up through the internet pipe, not the cable pipe. So it's an innovative new way to reach customers online.
How expensive is it to do that kind of stuff?
It's probably about $1,500 to $2,000 a month, so it's not cheap, but it's a lot cheaper than TV.
Yeah.
So it's about I'd say maybe 1/5 of the cost of TV. Yet it works like TV, and it still has a lot of open inventory available because so many subscription services were all spun up. I myself love to watch baseball, so I'm on MLB. And all of a sudden you'll see this gray screen come up and it says commercial break in progress. And I'm sitting there like, how could nobody be buying this spot like on MLB.com? And it's literally because this is a whole new way of, basically a whole new advertising channel that's just rapidly growing quick. There's not enough advertisers in this channel.
OTT.
Yeah, OTT.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So now, if we look at this journey and we talk about those buckets as we mentioned, right? So you've got it on mobile, you've got desktop, you've got this engagement. Now we want to kind of start to turn this engagement to leads, right? And to kind of work them. And there's the working of them before they're even customers. So how do we create connections where we can do email and text-based communications that eventually get them to turn into a sale? And then once they start to interact with sales, things like, whether it's scheduling a measure, a follow-up, whether they come in the store, whether it's, getting installation because they've already placed an order, this whole entire thing around the ability to communicate via email and text throughout the process. And then you could see here, right? So then you get your install and you get some, maybe some messages around getting ready for your install. And then you have a happy customer and maybe you're requesting a text message, for example, to actually get a review, right? And then that review comes all the way back and is put on your site, is out in the, is out in the public domain online with Google, for example. And so the way we think about this is, these are all the elements of the journey that help our customers through that shopping process. So when we think about this, we don't think just a website. We think about the experience of all of those pieces and how to tie all of those together. And a lot of those come with technology integrations. And so we're going to talk more about all of these, but some of the technologies that kind of connect in, obviously, information that's in your back-end systems within QFloors, and how do we do things with that online and making sure that those are kind of connected up both ways, right? Pulling and pushing information with your systems. With Roomvo, for example, with the visualization, so making sure that those pictures can be rendered in room scenes and it's tied to the catalogs to what you actually sell, and delivering a customer an in-home visualization experience. Things like messaging, obviously you see it throughout here, but email and text-based messaging across the cycle, not just on a website and not just from a single form, but as they move through this process, we call that our 360 messaging, and how we're able to communicate to customers at different stages. You have things like reviews and the ability to do mobile-based text messaging. We're going to talk to you a little bit more about that, as well as the ability to take online payments, right? So if you already have payments integrated with QFloors, how do you then connect that into an online experience where maybe they go to your website and then they want to actually pay there, or maybe you need online credit card processing, for example, for an e-commerce site or something along those lines. We also have a product, we call it our virtual home service, which lets you do claims. But again, it's all digital based, right? So it's using technology, mobile phones, pictures, and the ability to save all that into the cloud to really improve that experience where a customer might have to wait weeks to get somebody to come out to actually see an issue in their home that they might be talking about.
So in this process here, it seems to me like what you're advocating is that you're touching the customer all along the way.
That's exactly.
Right? Touching them electronically with messaging and stuff. Mm.
Yeah, and you're doing it in a seamless way to the customer, yet there's multiple different kinds of pieces of technologies that are used in order to deliver that, but you're doing it in a unified way across the whole experience. And you're using your messaging tool, right? You're using your text and email communication tool to also help you do that throughout the process. Okay?
Yeah, and I might point out, this is not QFloors' strength, right? Our strength is not this messaging stuff. Like we're in the operations side, but touching the customer with nice, pretty emails and text messages, ours are not pretty. Let's just say that. I mean, we do have pretty sales orders, okay, but these
Right.
other kinds of touching that you're talking about, I think is different than what QFloors currently offers today. So
yeah, so think about it like marketing, but you're really marketing as they're moving through a shopping process, right? It's always keeping kind of messaging and branding and communications in front of them, and you can do that, across multiple, across the whole entire pipeline, versus just doing that in a piece of that. And you're going to see, we're going to talk a little bit more about how that actually works, right? So let's talk digital. Let's get a little specific, because I know that you're all QFloors customers and have some questions about some of the integration and what it looks like so far. And we're going to talk about this, and then we're going to show you some of what it looks like on the back end, and then we're going to show you some of what it looks like on the front end, so you can kind of see how the pieces work together. So let's start with the first one. So when you have a website and we're, let's say, integrating and communicating with QFloors, the first thing that we can do is we can start connecting and communicating around customer data. So we can take leads from the website, from any of the channels. Let's say they come in from search or from social, and we can take that information and actually pass that information into QFloors, right, automatically. So you don't have to get it in an email. You know, it can come through automatically and be ready in there, so that you can start to actually build a quote and information from within QFloors without having to chase emails all around. The other thing that it does is, when you do that, it allows us to also send in information into QFloors about where those leads came from, right? So let's say it was a paid search campaign, or let's say it was our fall sale and it was specifically in social. We send that information along with that lead into QFloors. So now you've got what we call lead attribution, which allows you eventually to be able to look at reporting or other items to see ultimately your closed sales and which channels those leads came from that actually delivered real results. So this is the first time in a long time where, as an agency, we always talk about you know, how many leads and our cost per lead. Now we're also talking about cost per closed sale, right? Because that's that next evolution of what this kind of connection allows us to do. So that's this next line when we talk about ROAS, you know, return on advertising spend. So as an agency, when we look at how well we're doing today, we look at how many leads we're generating, what's those costs per leads, how we're doing that across different channels. What this now allows us to do is, what is it costing us to actually get to a closed sale, right? So lead to closed revenue, and then also the ability to look at our returning customers. So this two-way communication that allows us to kind of close the loop on digital marketing, regardless of the channel that they come in at, is really powerful. The second piece of this, which we've already talked about a little bit, but I'll show you what it looks like, and we'll talk more about it, which is, as a customer moves through these stages, how do we actually communicate, right? So getting ready for an install, right? To trigger a text message, how do you get ready for your install? After an install, to request a review, to be able to send a specific message that helps the user understand maybe how to care for the new hardwood flooring that they've just installed, or their carpet that they've just installed. Again, allowing this marketing automation, both while they're on the, we'll call it on the website or in the marketing funnel, but then also as they become a customer, and kind of communicating with them throughout each stage of the journey. There's lots of different things that you can do around that. So another piece that's critical of that is reviews, right? So there's lots of different ways to capture reviews. You can put a QR code at the front desk, and when somebody does a good job, right, they just scan that and you can get reviews. But obviously within your systems today, if you've built quotes and now you're delivering services, you want the ability to quickly, collect reviews, to be able to get in there, maybe to send some text messages to initiate getting more reviews. That's another form of using marketing automation to interact with customers, and then to take that information back. So think about that as marketing automation, right? So we got customer data, we got marketing automation of that, and now we start to get into product. And this is where it becomes really powerful, having been a web agency company in the flooring space now for 8 years. Typically, you've got a break between the data and the information that you get associated with your website coming down from the manufacturers, and it's more marketing data only, right? So it's images and it's SKUs and things, but it always never seems to marry up to what you actually have in your backend systems, so in your QFloor systems. So it may not match, you don't have a way to show price, you don't know what products are actually in inventory. And so now with the integration between the two, you can do things that would have had to have been done manually, like uploading a custom catalog to show what was in stock. The agencies or the digital teams would have had to have had you download reports and then give them to us and then upload them, or give you tools, but then you've got to maintain it in two places. Now, as we integrate with product data, things like the ability to show products in stock online automatically, right? That we can look into the system, see what's available, pull it back out, display it on the site in a different way. Same thing with pricing, same thing with inventory. And then that also allows, if you are interested in going to e-commerce, that allows another level of integration with your current system that you're doing all the work in, with the ability to sell products online. So these are three big innovation areas, and we're gonna show you some more and kind of talk to you about some of those. So I'm going to quickly summarize them, and then Chad will kind of show you some of that in the back end, right? So some of the things we talked about. So leads, this is leads flowing into QFloors, and vice versa. We can pull information out as well to be able to do monthly email campaigns or follow-ups. Pricing.
Can I add into there? This is what we call QConnect. Okay, so in QFloors, the name of the technology that we're using, some of our customers may have heard the term QConnect. This downloading of leads into QFloors has to do with that.
Perfect. Yep. And then pricing, so the ability to pull through and show pricing online. In stock, so what are you flagging as products that are actually showing inventory in your back end? How do we pull that through and make sure that presents itself online on the website in an integrated way? Customer engagement, we've already shown you those touch points, right? Both from email and text-based in an integrated way across. Messaging, obviously. And then even integration with payments, right? So you have a texting platform now to request payments from. You can integrate with online payments through QPro Pay, where we can link the website side to QPro Pay to make those that process easier. So that connection with payment. And then reviews, right? So as we talk about capturing more reviews, and so we'll kind of show you some of that. And then the big one here, which is why it all really matters, which is really, how do you know that all the stuff that you're doing online, that the money you're putting into paid search and social and SEO and your website, how do you know it's working? That's the ability to do the closed sale, right? My ads all the way to what's actually closing and getting to a whole nother level of return on ad spend. So with that, I'm gonna turn it over to Chad for a few minutes, and he's gonna kind of share his screen and talk about how some of those features work and look within QFloors.
Yeah, can you move back to that screen you were just on real quick? Go backwards. So let me just tell you what we have today. So in QFloors with QConnect, I'm going to show you here real quick. The leads, the downloading of the leads is currently active, and we've had people using it now for probably 6 months. And the reviews part of this with Swell is also active, and we've been having that working for, it's been years now, I think a couple of years. Some of the payments thing actually works. Some of these other things here, we're like in the process of testing, and I'll show you that here. They're actually in some of the latest versions of QFloors. So I'm going to share my screen now and see if I guess my screen shared, right? Can you guys see that?
Yep.
Okay. So when we talk about QConnect, you'll see that we have under integrations, we have this QConnect screen right here. And on our very newest version of QConnect, we've added a bunch of features in here. So This is really the first time that we're showing this, where you can see that we've added in this notification URL where we can notify another company like Mobile Marketing that a new lead has come into QFloors, or that the installation date has changed, or the cell has closed. So we can notify them of certain events, which triggers some of that messaging that Carole was talking about, right? Another new feature that we have here is, of course, we can download the leads into our system, and that's what this little black button down arrow thing is over here. When people press that, it downloads the leads that Mobile Marketing has given us, or your website, whoever's doing that, right? So we can download those, but now the new feature is we can also send back to Mobile Marketing leads that maybe didn't come through their channel. Maybe it was somebody that just walked into the store. Maybe it was somebody that called on the phone. Maybe it was somebody that, whatever the situation was, where it came through a different channel. We can actually send either the lead or the cell back to them now, so that you can actually do more messaging and more notifications through their messaging center to all the customers, not just the ones that come through their channel, right? So that's a really huge thing. And the fact that we're telling them when we close the cell, then that's how she gets to the ROI, right, on the return on investment on the advertising that was done. So that's how we're doing it, okay? So some of these things are newer and that we're in testing, but definitely the lead downloading is working right now. We expect by the end of the month to have all the notification stuff working. It's already in our latest version of QFloors. So that's this QConnect thing that was being talked about, right? The other thing that is active, like I was talking about right now, is our Swell connection, which has to do with the reviews. We've extended the capabilities of this also, where before we were just sending the reviews. Now we're giving our customers more control over the reviews that they want to send. That was kind of some of the feedback we were getting. Well, what if we have this customer that we don't want to send a review to them because they're a difficult one, or, so they wanted to be more selective. So we've got a couple of new features here where you can see that we can auto send to every completed cell, or we can auto send whenever the customer gives us a payment. So sometimes people want to send the review when you're just starting the process, right? Instead of when you're completing the cell after it's installed. So we can trigger it on both of those, or you can turn the auto send off, and we have a manual way of sending them every time. You'll notice,
Chad,
yeah.
Oh, God. I was just going to say about Swell, right? That also sits on your website. So you can interact with customers that might come to your site and then they want to communicate with you. That can be set up to trigger direct text messages to you or call center, however you want to work that. And then as you respond back, it goes back to the customer. So you've created also that same exact platform that we're using here to trigger reviews is the same platform that's used on the website, or could be used on the website, both to display reviews and then also to be able to capture messaging and turn interactions directly to texts. So now you've got this two-way texting communication that's going on the website. When you log into that, you can see all of it, right? You can see the reviews, the review requests, you can see any open questions. You can even get in there and just start messaging customers via text messaging. And we have some customers that love that. It makes it super convenient and very relevant. So all of that is just part of just that one technology, but working across all the different channels.
So that's definitely, the review process is just one very small part, right? I think that's what you're bringing up. The messaging is a huge part of that. We've also have this thing, if you've got an auto send selected, we've put this feature in to always ask before actually sending. So if you have auto send turned on and you want to be asked right before we actually send it, we can do that. So we've extended the way this Swell review thing works. And I mean, I was getting good feedback before, but just had some additional asks on that, so we put them in. If you want to manually send a review on your payment screen, your QFloors sales order payment screen, there's a new button here called Google Review. You just press on that and it will manually send that review. Now, you should be aware that if you send a review more than once for the same person, Swell does have some filters in there to look for duplicates. So you don't really need to worry if you're sending it more than once. They will filter out the duplicates and not bombard your customer with thousands of reviews. So, and I've not had any complaints about that, so I'm assuming that that's working. So that has to do with the review process, right? And then the very last one that we wanted to talk about that Carole kind of brought up, and this one is still in development. We've got a couple of customers that are testing it out right now, but it's the ability for us to send back to them through QConnect catalogs, our QFloors catalogs on what we should be displaying on the website. So it has to do with, if we look in here into our product catalog, and I think some of you have kind of seen some of this, but if I go to a product here and edit, right, you can see that we've got this display online and sample present flags right here. Well, if a product is being marked as display online, that means it's telling us to send information back to the website, back to mobile marketing or whoever it would be, information about that product to be displayed online, okay? So that's how this display online flag will be working. And then at that point, we can send them how much you have in stock, what the pricing structure is. It goes off of our QFloors retail pricing formulas. We even have a way how to send special pricing. Like, let's say that you've got a bunch of pallets there of something that you want to get rid of, and you want to put a special price flag, a special price tag on that. We can tag that for mobile marketing so that they can display it into a special pricing area on your website. So all those kinds of features that we're able to give feedback about what our inventory is and about what our product catalogs are, so that you don't have to maintain pricing in multiple places. We're also working on showroom pricing coming from QFloors 2. That samples, the samples present flag right here has to do with showroom pricing, so that we can flag people as to the pricing and everything that goes in the showroom. And I will just say we've added another feature in here too to help you mark those display online and sample present tags in all of these products. If when you do update settings here, you could do it for all manufacturers, specific manufacturers, you know, a specific type of product. So we're helping you to get all those display online and sample present checkboxes marked in all the products. So those are kind of the three kind of major focus things that we have integrations on going back to marketing companies. Did I do okay?
Perfect. Yeah. So I was just gonna, if I can get the screen back.
Let me see. Let me see. Can I get rid of mine here? Stop sharing. There we go.
Presenter to make you a presenter again.
Oh, it is? Okay. Well, let's see if I can do that.
And then what I'll do is I'm going to just show you quickly what it would look like.
Where are you at? Is this must be you?
CC. I think it's CC.
How's that?
Perfect. Okay.
Look at how we work together.
Okay, let me know. Do you guys see my screen?
Yep, we're back. We're good.
Okay, so let me go pull this back up. Okay, so just to show you quickly what some of these look like, we talked about the leads coming in. This would mean that we would have the ability to pull in to show a product out there, possibly with a price, and that's a choice you could make. And you don't have to do it on all products either, right? You can do it on some products that you might want to show because you're trying to get rid of them in a clearance area. and others that you don't want to show price on because you're worried about that in the conflicting with your showroom, for example. And also things like in-stock flags, right? So not only price, but also inventory. So this just gives you an example of what that would look like. Same thing here. So if you actually wanted to do e-commerce, we do offer e-commerce solutions from very light to very complex. That's also possible now as an add-on to sites or kind of a full setup of a site. Why some of this matters is I use this as an example because, and I've got Home Depot and Lowe's here to show you that they actually do this. So because they know they have inventory of a product and they show price, they can use a new advertising channel that Google has. And they can also put their products out there so that they're showing up in any kind of Google shopping where you can actually show product out there. But you cannot do this unless you actually have the ability to have price and inventory. So Google won't even let you advertise in this particular channel without that information. So I think now that we have some of that, even if it's clearance items, those kinds of things could actually be put out here.
Yeah, it could be very limited, right? It doesn't have to be everything. It could be.
It doesn't have to be everything, right?
Just specials, right?
Items, specials, clearance items, but something so that you're actually there and competing in the Google local shopping catalogs, if you will. Right now, the majority of independent flooring retailers don't do this because we don't have the ability to know whether or not inventory is available and or a price point to put. This just talks more about a little bit about some of the other features as well. It does have, and these are online, right, on the website side. So we've got scheduling. You can set up surveys both for the website side or other. Obviously, it captures reviews. There's web chats, and this is a messaging platform. So as I mentioned, if you get it once, you get it across everywhere. What that helps you do is obviously capture more reviews, interact with customers online. All of this is that customer engagement, right? Helping you really connect. And I wanted to just show an example of what some of those email communications might look like. So this is, how much do you know about a particular product category? This one's, how do you know if you can afford this project? And so think about now the ability to send customized by category communications, emails and texts, offers, once a month offers to your entire base that might be, even if they're previous customers, hey, don't forget about us, we've got a new sale this month, to always just stay, top of mind. So this is the ability to dump all the customers to then do this in a monthly blast. This one's more showing kind of a cycle while we're working them while they're in the, we'll call them in the prospecting stages.
So are those messages customized for each store, it looks like, right? Each dealer?
Yep, so they can be customized at the store level and then typically the product category level, right? So we've got right now a bank of emails. Let's say if you wanted the full 360 messaging, you can do custom once a month emails, or you can do, I'll call them more automated, right? Those, we'll call them the drip campaigns, both emails and text. And typically they're around a category, right? So think again, how to care for your carpet, your 1-year anniversary, your carpet, how to clean your carpet. Therefore, it's a theme typically around the product category that they've either said they're interested in or that they've actually bought. And that way, that whole entire email campaigns are all around that specific category. Same thing with the text messaging. Yep. Just a little talk about, the return on ad spend, because this is really what's so innovative and new about this. And so what does that really mean, right? You take all your marketing spend, you look at your overall, say your revenue, you divide it by your cost, and then you get a return on your advertising spend. So you really, as you think about it, how much does it cost you to actually acquire a customer? And then how much does it cost you to actually acquire a good customer? And then wouldn't you want to know where your good customers are coming in from, and therefore you put more money into those advertising channels? Instead of right now, we're based on cost per lead, which might feel good, but those leads might not be converting at the same rate from one channel to the other. And in this case, you now know how to move your marketing money your digital marketing spend around based on that.
Can I say something real quick on that, Carol?
Sure.
In QFloors, just so that we're clear, in order for us to send back the advertising channels that, I mean, you know the ones that you're getting, right? But if they're coming from us back to you, they have to be using our lead screen in order for us to capture
Where they're coming
those
from.
channels. Yeah. So if you're not currently using our lead screen, you would need to think about starting to use that, and you should be anyway. But just so that you know that to get the best reports on all of this, that's what you want to do.
Great. Yep. Okay. All right. And so just want to cover one other thing, and then we'll just stop and open it up for some questions. So we have also just recently launched a new product that we call SamplesApp. What this allows you to do is to really keep tab on all of your flooring samples, right? So the ability to check in and out samples, communications while those samples are out, and kind of personalization from sales reps about bringing samples back. It allows you to maintain a record of, even if you don't have the products, it allows you to take pictures of the samples so that you can actually see what didn't come back, so that you know what to reorder. So a lot of value and reasons why the SamplesApp is something for you to consider. I don't have time to go through the full demo of it today, but I would love to take anybody through it that would be interested in it, and I'll give you a link at the end of this. But you know, the high level of this is everybody's losing sales every day due to samples missing from displays, right? So it's not good for the manufacturers, it's not good for distributors, it's not good for retailers when your best samples go missing and you don't know, and we don't get them replaced, and they don't get replaced fast enough. And there's tens of millions of dollars that are being spent on samples today. That doesn't necessarily have to be. A lot of that's because if you think about a manufacturer rep coming into a store, they see a display, they see a bunch of samples that are missing. Maybe some of those are actually coming back today or tomorrow afternoon or the next day. They'll order them all, right? And then they'll all come in, and then retailers have double samples, and some are sitting on the floor, and the showrooms get a mess, and then they throw out half of them. So there's a lot of opportunity to really improve the whole entire samples. SamplesApp is a mobile application that can go on your phone or on an iPad. It is patent pending, all of this, all of the elements around SamplesApp. So let me just kind of talk to you a little bit more about them. So the way that the whole process works, I won't have a chance to do a full demo for you right here, just because we're going to run out of time. But the way that it works is you actually have an iPad. Customer comes in the store, you check out a sample. If you can take a picture of it, take a picture of the front, take a picture of the back. So you don't have to have the sample already logged into any system. You take a picture of it. You then can decide whether you're going to charge for the sample or not, and it will allow you to take a customer credit card payment. You can then, what it'll do is, you know, if the customer doesn't bring back the sample within 3 days, it'll actually send them a notification saying, hey, don't forget, your sample's due back. All of these communications, both via text and email, back and forth between the consumer and the sales rep, are all personalized. So there's an initial text message saying your sample's due back on this date, back to this location. Same thing with an email, your samples are due back to this location. And the next level of that that's also integrated in it is if we do connect it to a product using the SKU, you can send personalized messages that are specific to the product that they also have. So it's not just, hey, bring the sample back. It's, hey, thanks for checking out this Cortex such and such oak, and here's the value proposition for it, right? It's got a 20-year warranty, it's got scratch resistance, it's pet friendly, whatever those features are can also be sent with that. There's a whole manufacturer element of this too, where they can actually see displays and their samples that are checked out. They don't know who, and they don't know the consumer's information, but they can actually see their displays to know whether or not products are missing from their display or not. So would love to take more people through it. The Samples app is actually free. So yeah, I said that, it's free to everybody on this call. You can go to SamplesApp.com. There's a contact us form, fill that out, and somebody will reach out. They can take you through the whole setup. It's super simple to set up. You can get up and running on this in a day or two. And the beautiful thing about that is this whole process is it's personalized. It's back and forth between the rep. It inspires the consumer to come back. It's educational and information that's shared. There's links to visualization and other kinds of capabilities. So really encourage everybody to go out and request a demo of the Samples app.
Carole, the reason it's free is because this is being sponsored by the manufacturers, right?
Yeah, so it's a little bit like the Roomvo model, right? In that we need the adoption of people actually using the sample back and forth every day, just checking out samples. But the manufacturers, they want to be able to, know what's going on with that display, be able to return samples into the display. So our goal is that there's a very small fee, right, at a display level for a manufacturer to be able to manage that display for you. You don't have to have the manufacturers in there for the Samples app to work, because it's actually based on literally your phone or the app. You take a picture of the sample, turn it over, take a picture of the back, and now you're good. You can still check it out, and when it doesn't come back, it didn't come back, and now you need to put that sample back into the display. It lets you know right away, right? So now if I go get that sample, then I'm not going to have that gap in my display. You can think of the power and the importance of that to a manufacturer, right? Their ability to kind of know that a sample went out and didn't come back, and that they should really replace that in their display. Not to mention a whole other element around ordering samples they don't need, being able to audit the displays, have their manufacturer reps audit the displays, the reporting, right? So you can see the top selling items that are coming out of those displays. There's a reporting element, but all of it's anonymized, so it does not have any level of consumer information in it that the manufacturers can get to. Plus, they want to help you market. So those custom messages, they can put those in there as well. So for the first time, a manufacturer can actually make sure that a message got to a consumer that has a sample in their home, right? So there's a lot of value in it for that. So that's why it's free. Yep.
Yeah. So it's not a gimmick, is what I'm trying to get at. You're not going to come back and start charging them,
No.
in a year or whatever. This is actually a service to the industry, and the manufacturers and suppliers really want to get this done because it's going to help them. That's the way I see it.
Win-win-win, right? Yeah. Consumers win because they're getting more educated, they're getting a personalized experience, they're being able to use visualization and things that are connected to it in the communications. Retailers win, they got hopefully their top selling products back in the displays, personal messages going back and forth about getting the customer to interact with them again, right? Manufacturers should save money on wasted displays, product information, the ability to buy, the ability to build product even early based on what they're seeing for samples checkouts and top selling products. That's all a great thing to help them, prepare that. So we think it's a win-win-win across the board, which is good.
So we have a question here. Can the Samples app manage other items other than flooring, like cabinets, doors, quartz?
Yes, 100%. The beautiful thing about this is it works almost in any industry on any products that have something that you let go out that you want to get back. Perfect. So it could, and it's heavy in kitchen and bath. And you can choose to set up your own displays so they're already in there, or that whole picture lets you know when it didn't come back, what actually took out, right? So you can literally go into the app, see what didn't come back, and look at the picture of it, and now you know what you need to go replace. That can be anything.
Yeah, for a full demo, you can get with them, and they can get you personalized demos on the Sample app.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, Carole, it just, after just listening to the whole presentation here and everything, for me, this is sounding like, of course, you've got the website and bringing people in through your digital store, but this idea of communicating consistently back to the customer in a very natural, non-intrusive way seems to be a huge thing here. And I think, from my perspective, we're trying to close that gap so that this doesn't have to be, so that this can be more automated and something that our customers don't have to worry about.
100%. And even with SamplesApp, right? So can you use SamplesApp to actually be that initial lead capture and to pass that information over into QFloors, right? So that it's already over there. Absolutely. And can we pull information to pre-populate SamplesApp because you're a QFloors customer and we've already got the connection, so that literally all you have to do is type in the customer name or put in their email. It only needs 3 pieces of information to work. It's their email, their name, and a phone number, right? Because it's mobile-based, email-based, and you need their name to personalize it. So those 3 pieces of information we capture on an iPad as they're checking a sample out. That information goes into the system, right? Then we can also pull information out of the system so that the next time the customer comes in, you don't even have to include any of that. Just pull them up by their last name or their name, and now you can check out a sample for that. It also saves on all the reconciliation. A lot of times you have to go in there, you have to set up a customer, you got to do the charge, then you got to reverse the charge because it's like 95% of the time the samples are coming back. So it kind of takes all of that out and simplifies that whole process. So this is our, you can scan this. This will bring you over to mobile marketing. Everything we've talked about here, whether it's the advertising, the websites, any of the interactivity, certainly are all QFloors customers. So we think there's a strong advantage to kind of having more conversations with you about what we might be able to do. We have all the catalogs, that come with manufacturing, all the digital marketing around that. But we'd love to talk to you more. But we feel that some of this stuff is pretty innovative in the industry.
One last question I had. So are you saying that SamplesApp integrates with the mobile marketing tools already, or is that, how does that work?
Yeah, so right now, Chad, SamplesApp works 100% standalone with or without mobile marketing, right? Mm-hmm. The fact that we have the ability to connect the data across the 3, we do, right? So in that case, if we've got an integration with QFloors, it'll work for SamplesApp, it'll work for mobile marketing. But the SamplesApp itself is a standalone app downloaded on anybody's device. You don't need a mobile marketing website, right? Okay. You don't need anything. And actually, now I know these are probably all QFloors customers, but you actually don't need the ERP either, right? Yeah. It's really just around managing that whole sure. Samples process. Yeah.
Sure. Perfect. Well, looks like we got all the questions answered, and we've used our time well, our hour here today. We've been talking with Carole Cross, founder, CEO of Mobile Marketing. Let's get that in there. And on the top 35 influential women in, what was that again?
Flooring, yeah.
Flooring, okay, there we go. We got her. She's awesome. She's
a great company there, by the way. There's women in the flooring space.
Lots of great information and knowledge. How long you been in the industry?
Almost 15 years in flooring.
Okay.
Yeah.
15 and 20. So.
But I came from all big brands before, right? So IBM, Dell, GE, and then I got sucked into flooring, then left flooring, and then as everybody says, you get sucked right back in. And then started a flooring digital agency and never thought I'd be doing this, but it's what I do. Love it every day.
Well, great. Great to have you, Carole. We thank all of our users and all of our customers that have been with us today. And we look forward to our next webinar that should be coming up in a few weeks. Watch for all the announcements. Thanks. Goodbye.
Thank you.
All right. We stopped our recording, I think. Whoops.